Andrea Goeglein with us talking about good news does happen, and it's a challenge to look for it sometimes, then it's more of a challenge sometimes to talk about it, because many times we get really caught up. The universe works like a boomerang as such. Many times the things we emphasize and dwell on, we get more of that back, it seems like. But many times people get so caught up in the negatives because so much has happened to them.
Right.
How do you break that? How do you step out of that?
Well, one of the easiest ways is in your day-to-day conversations. Now, it means that you must catch yourself and you must know that you're contributing to the negative conversations that you're having. So that's an awareness issue. The conversation is about stop. Catch yourself that you're actually inviting negative news. You know, what you just said about the universe is a boomerang. The universe is you and I. It's the relationships we have. So what happens? I approach you and I say, I already know my life is not so good, so I come up to you and I say, how are things going? And my whole dejection is like, how are things going? Well, are you going to say, oh, life is great. Oh, things, no, you're going to
fall right into it.
You're going to, that is human nature. You actually respond in conversation the way someone addresses you. If someone comes up pleasantly, your initial reaction, even if you're in a slightly bad mood, is to get up a little bit. Loud voice, you're going to respond in a loud voice.
And maybe get away from how are you doing?
Well, what I have suggested, and everyone, so that the viewing audience knows, on my website right now is a blog that has successful conversations in interesting times, and it gives you steps and exact examples where saying this shifted to this. You know, things like how's business going and how are you doing, those are such, that's just like, they're just like hello and goodbye. We say them naturally without any thought. They're like air
mindless.
that comes out, very mindless.
We have no thought behind that whatsoever.
Yeah, air fillers, and we need to now add something. That's where the conscientious was. So how are things going? I just had a nice thing happen to me I want to tell you about. And it could be that the checkout person smiled. I have spent a lot of the last 6 to 8 weeks writing various blogs on small human interactions, small relationships that go on. I don't care if you're buying your food with food stamps. You have the opportunity to make someone smile and to have someone smile back to you. The more we collect those things known as buffer activities and do those things in our day-to-day life, and we start, and then I tell you, so I go to the next thing,
and then pretty soon that's routine.
Exactly. And that is the one thing that I hope many people hear from me. The concept of positive psychology is really a buffer science. In the good times, or when you're feeling good, make sure you know these exercises so that you can build them up, so that you have them to grab back to when things aren't going. It's really hard when your house is in foreclosure, you do not have a job, you are buying your food with food stamps, to begin to see the smiles. So it is a good thing to start that ahead of time, but there is also no time that is not the right time to start. And in there lies what I will never give up my optimism, because the alternative I already know the answer to. And my ability to hold on to the possibility of that one grain of sand on that entire beach is what allows everybody else to come and play in the sand.
And in the big scheme of things, as it comes down, the 3 scenarios that you spoke about, in the end, we realize that, number one, they can't shoot you, they can't kill you, they can't eat you.
And see, I do have many around me who have taken to what I call rolling their eyes. And you will notice in the blog today, people
rolling their eyes
like when I want to respond with something upbeat, that is not always welcomed initially.
It's like, where is she coming from?
That's exactly right. You know, misery loves company.
Yeah,
so when you're actually approaching people and asking in a down-tone way, the truth is you're looking for some companionship in your misery.
It's very true.
Because you think it's going to work.
And a lot of people, Andrea, actually get ugly about it, and they come back.
Well, my world doesn't get ugly, I will tell you, because I'm a little too skilled for anyone to get to. Yeah, I'm not going to ever let you get that far. I'll let you roll your eyes, but you're not going to get ugly. And it is, you know, it is hard when things are not going well. But if you can stay open to the possibility that the conversation is only about what choices you're making, what actions you can take. And Tanya, I want you to know on the blog today, although you were not named specifically, one of the steps, one of the things I say, start making like a little bag of warm things, nice encounters that have happened. And you know, the day that I told the two of you that Richard and I had lost our business was devastating. Tanya then offered to do some professional work for me for free to help me get the next thing I'm trying to create. I walked out in a state of awe. And it was something that if I would have allowed myself to stay in, oh my gosh, my business is lost, and stayed there, I may not have noticed the gift that I had been given. And because I am blessed that I do this work, I could walk out of that meeting, and even though there was a lot of upset in the room when we had the conversation, what I left with was, isn't this cool?
See, one small helping hand.
That's it.
Yeah.
You just need to know something or someone is on your side.
Yeah.
And that gets repeated. I mean, in Pat's show this morning, he had the animal whisperer, and a dog had been left at the shelter. And the man, I think his name was Tim, was saying, you know, unfortunately this dog was dropped off and it hadn't been explained to the dog why, what had happened, and that it needs to open its spirit to, you know, being the next home. And then Pat correctly said, that's the same thing with us.
Yeah.
We just need to constantly be able to see, what's that one small thing? Stop trying to predict out what's going to happen. In this moment, what cool thing can I identify and hold on to? Just because it's not as big as the things that may not have been so pleasant.
So think a little smaller. Appreciate the smaller things instead of looking for the big thing.
And you can fill buckets and buckets full of small stuff. If you keep waiting for the IRAs to go back up and the foreclosures to stop and the this and the that and the full unemployment, then you're going to be a little lost.
Yeah.
And you know, they teach it in acting, and it applies in everyday life. It's in the moment.
Absolutely.
And now more than ever, we have to be in that moment now and appreciate the small things.
In essence, though, that's all we really have, and I mean
that's all you ever have, whether you're on stage or not. In reality, that's it.
We've got right now. This is it.
I just think that's one of the blessings of this point in our life. The ability for us to have these conversations. They've been going on in a vocal way for 15 or 20 years, and we're tone deaf to them. When you have to finally live the conversation. And then take your part.
And then listen, and you know this, Andrea, and Tanya knows this. I mean, up and down throughout your life, if you can learn to live it on the high end.
Right.
Because you don't stay at the top.
Never give up the dream.
It's always like this. Never give up the dream.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very, very much. You're so positive.
Love
Great
being
influence.
here.
Great influence.
When we come back, look what Angela's driving. You're going to find out.